What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the show. So I want to show you this information. This is coming from the White House, and they are saying that the average American is doing really well. So we saw the jobs report come out last week, and we saw President Trump, as a result of the numbers that came out, President Trump didn't like the numbers. He fired the head of the Bureau of Labor Statistics. And so now the White House is putting out their own information, their own data. And I want to show you this because they're saying that the average American is doing really well. So let's focus on that in this video. But first off, if you guys watch this video and you end up liking the content, please like the video and consider subscribing to the channel. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. So the first video that I want to show you, this is President Trump in the Oval Office. He's going to be showing you this information, and they're going to be talking about how the average American is doing so far this first 6 months into his administration. So here we go.
In his first 5 months in office, starting in January through the end of June, the average median household income adjusted for inflation for the average family in America is already up $1,174. That's an
incredible number.
Yeah.
Just came out.
Just came out. So that's a giant gain.
Okay, so you saw that information coming out, and it looks like it's coming from the Heritage Foundation. And what's interesting about this is the average American, they're saying, is up $1,174. Now, we don't have the data to back up the information that's being presented to us, but I would dispute what they're saying right now. I think the average American is looking at the economy and saying, and we've looked at polls, okay? So we know polling is showing that the average American is saying things are not getting better, they're actually getting worse when it comes to inflation, when it comes to our economy. And not only do we have inflation, but now we have tariffs that could cause more inflation. So those numbers that they're presenting us, I don't know. I don't think that they're correct, but I want you guys to let me know in the comments below. Now, he went a step further. After this little presentation, he went back to this, and I'm going to show you guys that. Here we go.
They're all something, but this one chart really says it better than anything. If you look at this is great, but this chart is pretty amazing right here. All new numbers. Okay.
Okay, so President Trump is trying to convince the American people that the average person is doing well, and they should be proud of the economy that we're looking at right now. And so do you buy it? Do you think the average American is doing well? Do you think they're looking at this windfall of $1,174? Okay, so now I want to talk about Social Security and the cost of living adjustment, because this is a concern of mine. It was a concern of mine last week when we saw the president fire the head of BLS, the Bureau of Labor Statistics. And the reason why it was a concern is because President Trump obviously didn't like the information that came from BLS last week when it came to the jobs report. And so what did he do? He fired the head. Now, why is this a problem? This is a problem because he will eventually appoint someone else. And at that point, is this person that he appoints, are they going to be loyal to the president? Are they going to be loyal to the U.S.? Are they going to try to give out the correct information, even if it means they might be fired in the future? Because when we start looking at the CPI, the Consumer Price Index, when we start looking at inflation, the inflation numbers, will we see the new head of BLS try to adjust the numbers when it comes to inflation so it would appease the president? And if that is the case, then we would see CPI lower numbers when it comes to inflation, because presidents don't want high inflation, right? They don't want that information out there. So if they lower the numbers, now we're looking at the cost of living adjustment for people receiving Social Security benefits. So let's just give an example. Let's say CPI for July, and remember, they're going to calculate July, August, and September. That's what they're going to use to calculate COLA for 2026. So if that number, let's say CPI is 2.7, the real number is 2.7%. But for whatever reason, now it looks like inflation is a lot better because of the changes to the BLS, and now it's at 2.2%. And so it's not what it actually is, 2.7%. It's 2.2%. Well, that is going to have a major impact on people receiving Social Security benefits, because that's going to mean that your cost of living adjustment just went down, and it could go down to 2%. The Federal Reserve's already indicated, and this is something else that we need to think about. The Federal Reserve has indicated they want inflation at around 2%. And when we get to around 2%, they would consider cutting interest rates. we know President Trump, for the longest, ever since he came into office, he's been talking about we need to cut interest rates. And so now, if the president appoints someone to BLS to run the Bureau of Labor Statistics, and that person really focuses on the numbers and tries to get those numbers down to 2%, even if it's artificial, that would mean that the people that receive the cost of living adjustment, they're going to receive less, even if the numbers don't reflect that. And so that's the fear here. Are we going to get correct information from this point on? Because the president has already said, look, I didn't like those numbers that came out. And so I fired the head and gave no real evidence of the numbers being fake, but just said, I didn't like those numbers. And so this person had to go. And so the new person comes in. Are they going to say the same thing? Are they going to warn that person, look, if you put out numbers that I don't like, you could lose your job. And so now the White House is putting out their own information when it comes to these charts, and they're saying that things are better and all this stuff, when we all know the reality. I go to the grocery store right now. Things are expensive. They're more expensive now than they were last year. And so things are not getting better. The economy is not getting better. But if we look at this information that's coming out, it's showing that things are good. And that's why the president went back to that and said, look, this is the chart that I really like the best. This shows that the American people are doing well. Okay, now before we go, I do want to take a look at the chart that he was showing, just so we can zoom in and see exactly what this says. So at the top there, it says monthly estimates of net change in real median household income. And it says Trump second term. And what is this? This says unleash prosperity. Okay, so let's take a look at the information that he's provided. So he's saying in January of 2025, we were at zero, basically. And then there was a slight little uptick. So February 2025, it was less than, we'll just say $100. I don't know exactly where that is, but we'll just say it's about $100, right? It's less than $200. And then we saw a drop. Interesting, we saw a drop. I don't know how they can explain that, but March 2025, we saw that drop. And then what did we see? We saw this spike here. So in May, right, let's say the end of April, we saw a spike. And that brought us to, let's say, about $450. Let's say around that ballpark. And then what did we see? In June, I guess you could say early June, we saw this spike. And this spike took us over the top. Now we're at $1,174. And so that is the information that they're showing us. And did you see this major change in our economy, major change to our wallets in the last 6 months? I don't know. January, they're saying we were at zero. And then things just increased a little bit, in February, a little bit, dropped back down in March, and then just took off from there. April, May, June, skyrocketed. And now we're looking at $1,100 more in our wallets. So I want you guys to let me know, okay? And they're talking about households, so this is not every individual person, but per household, $1,174. You guys let me know if you saw that, if you're feeling that, because I would say the average American is not feeling that. And just looking at the polls, they're showing us that they're not feeling that, and they actually feel that our economy it's not doing well at all. And inflation is killing us. And there are a lot of other issues that are going on right now. If you look across the board, I just put out a video. I'll have a link at the end of this video so you can check it out. If you look at polling when it comes to President Trump across the board, he's in the negative. He's in the disapproval. And so I would argue that things are not getting better, but this chart that they're presenting is showing us something different. I want you guys to let me know in the comments below. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. Please subscribe for more, and I'll talk to you in the next one. Bye. So that's all we have for this video. Make sure if you guys want to send me an email, you can do that, david@thetecshow.com. Like the video, subscribe for more, and check out these videos over here for some more great content. Talk to you later. Bye.